once you confirm they're who they say they are, then they can come in, but not until you confirm them.
Okay, I let them in.
So if you know for sure. Good morning, everyone. We're going to give just a few minutes for people to join us before we get started. We're certainly happy to have you join us on this Friday morning. If you could possibly also type whether your child, your student is remote or face-to-face, that would give us a good idea too of exactly how to cover the content today. Thank you, Ms. Watkins. And Mr. Williams, thank you. Ms. Carrington, have we got everyone from the waiting room that was there in the meeting now?
No, I have 2 more in the waiting room that I'm working with. I'll get them in just a second.
All right, thank you all for being patient with us. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get going so that we can honor everyone's time. We certainly appreciate everyone joining us this morning. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'll let Ms. Carrington and Ms. Ferguson introduce themselves. My name is Chris Biddle. I am a multi-classroom leader here at Blueford Peeler STEAM Academy, and my focus is mainly 3rd and 4th grade, although I do work with some of the other grade levels at times. And I have certainly enjoyed getting to know many of your students over the last year and a half. I will be helping with the presentation, and if you received a text or an email, it was from me. So thank you for joining. Ms. Carrington, do you have a moment, or are you still checking people?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to say everyone, I'm sure everyone knows who you are.
Good morning. My name is Ms. Carrington. I'm the data manager here at Blueford Peeler STEAM Academy. So if you normally call the school, I'm probably one of the people that you speak with. So if you have any questions, don't feel free to give us a call or reach out to us. Thank you.
And Ms. Ferguson is going to start us out. She is a tech guru in addition to her other job, which she will explain to you. And we both have a couple of screens going on. So if you see us looking back and forth, we are paying attention. We just are running things in the background to make it a little bit easier and better for you guys.
Good morning. So I'm Ms. Ferguson. I am the K-5 science specialist here at Blueford Peeler. I work closely right now with 5th grade as the students in 5th grade are tested in science. So if you have a 5th grader, and eventually all of you will have a 5th grader, they will take a science EOG at the end. So we're all about making sure the students understand the science content, especially in 5th grade. And as Ms. Biddle said, I think I'm a tech guru. She called on me and she's like, can you do this? Because I know you've done it before. So I'll give you a little bit of my knowledge and hopefully answer some questions that you have about some of the technology that we've been using during virtual learning.
All right, you ready, Ms. Ferguson?
I am ready, Ms. Biddle. So we're going to start off with this STEAM Up Lunch and Learn with technology, with Teams and Canvas. So what are they? So Teams is the virtual platform for video conferencing where the students get to see their teachers teach live. And Canvas is the platform that the students use to get assignments, to send messages to teachers, to turn in work. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of that and some ins and outs of that. And if you have any questions throughout, please put them in the chat and I'll answer them. Ready, Ms. Biddle? Okay, so to start you out, we know that we can get to Canvas through NC Ed Cloud, and they log in to NC Ed Cloud with their student ID. It's that long series of numbers, and we also call it their lunch number. And then their teacher has set their password for them. So it's unique to each grade level, and the student ID is unique to them. So let's look and see what Canvas looks like for the students on their end. So this is a sample student dashboard of what they will see when they do log in. So oftentimes, sometimes you'll see them in tiles like this, and other times you will see them in a list view. So you have the opportunity to change that view. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Biddle. So to change that view, you'll click those 3 dots in the top right corner to see the cards or the list. So the list just shows what is due. And I always tell students when they're saying, well, I've done your work. Well, sometimes it doesn't show up on my end because if it didn't have a due date or a specific day that they're looking at in the calendar for today or this week, it won't show up. So I often tell them to turn to card view so they can click on my course. And then if you'll click to the next one, Ms. Biddle. So they click on a course and they'll see all of the months for the school year and then a specific Bitmoji classroom or a specific image to introduce the teacher. And oftentimes they see the course navigation on the left where you see announcements, Zearn, Google Drive. Those are things that the teacher will have the students use in class a lot of times. And their to-do list is to the right. So those are the assignments that have to be done. Next, Ms. Biddle. And then this is when they click on the week. So as you see, I know it's a little tiny. As you see, every student's page will look almost the same by subject and by day. So the teacher will fills in this for what they want the students to do, whether they were virtual like yesterday because of the weather, or whether they're virtual all year long. So this is a great place to go to see what the student has to complete, when they have to meet, and any directions that the teacher wants them to follow. Any questions about this before I move on from Canvas? You can unmute or put it in the chat. I'll give you a moment.
And Ms. Ferguson, are you going to show this live in a moment so they can also follow along live?
I can do that now if you would like for me to.
And if
So-
Nancy Z and Leslie Q could please put your student names in the chat box for us, that would be great. Thank you so much. I'll just pipe in here for just a moment and let you know that even if your student is face-to-face, which I think we have the bulk of our students and you parents face-to-face right now, there are going to be teachers that are using Canvas and continue to use Canvas. One, in situations like yesterday when we have inclement weather or other issues that keep us home, but two, because they are still assigning some things in class that way so that they can get more quick results of assessments and be able to know exactly where the students are at. It also decreases the amount of paper that we're using and we're handing out to and from the students, which lowers the risk in the classroom. So you may still see students with Canvas assignments, especially in some of the upper grades.
So is everyone seeing the screen that says February right now?
No.
So
Do you want me to stop share?
yes, and see if that will work.
Yep, let me pause my share and stop it. And there we go. It is there, Ms. Ferguson.
Okay, so when you click on February, and I'm going to click on this week, this is an example of a 5th grade class. You'll see that this teacher is using Canvas in class and has students complete morning work and assignments in class, as Ms. Biddle was saying. So it's very important, especially for the upper grades, for them to be logging into Canvas, especially during class. And you could also become an observer as a parent to see what the students see. So you'll be able to see these also. So in 5th grade this week, they had a lot of review in science on Canvas that they had to complete after they were taught in class. And of course, yesterday being a virtual day because of weather, they had some assignments to complete on there in addition. Questions about this? So oftentimes you will see the do button, and then they will begin a quiz or begin a discussion board or an assignment in there. Very important that students click submit at the end or post reply, because if they do not do that, the teacher will not be able to see it. They'll be able to see that they clicked on it, but won't be able to see their work.
And I am going to stress that behind Ms. Ferguson, because we have many students who complete the work and then totally forget to push submit. And unless they push submit and actually complete that final step, the teacher won't receive the work.
So if there are no more questions about Canvas, I'm going to move to Microsoft Teams, the platform that we use for students to learn virtually so they can listen to their teachers live teach. So I'm going to share that, and I have started a meeting, and I'm going to show you some things that may be helpful
Ms.
for
Ferguson,
you.
can I interject one thing real quick?
You
Even
may.
if your student is face-to-face, of course, on inclement weather days, this is how they will access their teachers. But also, if there's a situation where a teacher is out for some reason, because we are not having traditional substitutes in the building right now due to COVID, we have some of our support staff that are going in, but we still have our teachers when they're able coming in via Teams to help the students. So having the students and the parents familiar with that, then you'll know exactly what's going on. If they come home and said, oh, even though they were face to face, they might mention that their teacher was on Teams. This is the platform that will be used for that as well.
So when the students click join the meeting, the link is oftentimes in their Canvas, as you saw. They will see this screen pop up. And then where the picture of my face is, you will see all of the other students and the teacher in this space. So if more people were in this meeting, you would see their pictures. Then you have all of these icons up here at the top right. So I'm going to start at the very far left and then move my way over. So the participants list that the students will be able to see everyone who's in the meeting, but they can also go and they can mute themselves right here if the mute button is not working over here. Then there is the little speech bubble, and that is the chat. It is used oftentimes a lot in upper grades to answer questions, especially when there are lots of children in the room and we don't want everyone unmuted at the same time. Then Microsoft Teams just updated the past couple of days. This was the raised hand button. Now it is the reaction button where they can raise their hand, but they can also give a thumbs up to the teacher. They can give a heart for love. They can give applause, and they can give a smiley face. And those simply pop up in the middle of the screen when you do click them. It's pretty cool. Then the 3 dots, they will not have the breakout room option because they're a participant, but the 3 dots are more actions. And this is where they can change the view. They can change it to gallery view when there are 10 to 12 kids or more on the screen so they can see them all at once. They can go to full screen. They can also apply their background, and a lot of them are asking about that. So they can change their background to make it look like they're somewhere. Usually I'm at the beach because it's one of my favorite places to be. Then the last couple are turning your camera on and off. So if the slash is through, that means the camera is off. Then if I turn it on, the slash goes away. We really like kids' cameras to be on so we can make sure that they're engaged in the lesson. Then the last one is the mute and unmute button to turn their microphone on. And then of course the leave, so they can leave the meeting later on. Any questions about Microsoft Teams?
There also is a share screen button that some of the teachers will have you as parents use or the students use when they're trying to help with some tech issues. So we may ask the student to share their screen to talk them through how to get to a certain location if they're struggling. That's the icon, the button to the left of the red leave.
The one with the arrow pointing upwards inside of the rectangle. So that's all for the technology part of the platforms that we use for virtual learning. I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Biddle for the E, encouraging discussion part.
Ms. Biddle, we can't hear
We're not
you.
hearing you.
I totally forgot to unmute. I'm so sorry. Okay, so thank you for letting me know that. The E is for encouraging discussion with our children when they return home from being with us all day to you. And if you're anything like me, when my personal children were younger and in school, they'd get home and the first thing I'd ask them is, did you have a good day at school? And of course, that's a yes or no question. So I'd get a yes or a no. And if they said no, I'd ask them why. And we'd see whether or not they had homework and get to work on that. But there are so many other questions that we can ask that are more open-ended. They could even be incorporated into dinner discussion or while you're fixing dinner in the car, anytime like that. Once I started asking more open-ended questions, I got so much more information from my own personal children. And as I was looking through questions online and thinking through some on my own, I thought, oh, I wish I'd had this list when my kids were in elementary school. I may have to start asking them when they get home from work now that they're adults so that they'll talk to me a little more. But I've got some lists here. Some of these you may already use. And one of the things I did talk to my kids about at times were the best parts of their day. What was the hardest thing you had to do today? And I might follow that up by asking them how they conquered that. Did any of your classmates do anything funny? They're reading every day and they've got the ARC bookshelf, which we'll talk about in a bit, that they can use at home as well. So having them talk to you about their reading and any of the characters in the story, something maybe they're learning from that book. They have a specialist they see every single day, even when we're remote. So asking them who their specialist was and what they did. I know I popped in and saw a couple of them yesterday, and Mr. Chairs was having students design rockets in different cool parts their rocket would have, and it was fun to watch them. The kids seemed very engaged. I know that's something that they always love is specials. I love with math, asking them to teach you how, what they did in math. That's especially a good way to ensure that what they've learned, they've retained and are able to apply. Something that made them smile, or a way they were kind, or even if someone was kind to them. And kind of flipping that, we really want to proactively have our kids deal with that in character. And so if anyone's been unkind, talking to them about that and how they responded, just to help them deal with that, because they're still learning and we want to help them along that trajectory. If they laughed, that kind of goes along with the funny earlier. And if they didn't understand something, it's so important because you can email or call your teacher, send a note. It's so important because potentially students don't let their teachers always know when they're not understanding for one reason or another. And so if you find that there's something they didn't understand, just take a moment, if you could, to send a quick email or a dojo message or something to your teacher to let them know so that they can help your child and work on it. If they were inspired by anything, we use vocabulary, and as we'll talk about in a little bit, that in science in 5th grade, especially, vocabulary is a huge focus. And during our morning show, there's always a word of the day. So if they have a word that they could talk to you about from that list or that we talked about at school would be great. And I ended with something that they feel proud about, because I think it's so important when kids can think about things they've done that do make them feel proud, and it gives you an opportunity to hear them brag a little on themselves, because we know our children always do things that are amazing and we may not always know about it or see it. So I'm sure you have plenty of other questions you can think of too. This is just a short list to get you going. There's a lot online that you can view as well. So I love being able to discuss with kids. Mine are adults, as I said, but I still love having those discussions. So we are going to move on to learning apps, A to Z. So we're going to start with Clever, even though that's not an A. Clever, I start with because it is the jumping off point for the bulk of the apps that the students are using in school and remotely every day. And even here at school, our students are using Clever. And so I am going to stop my share for a moment, and I am going to reshare so that we can, I'm sorry, I want to get to the right screen. Once they sign on to the cloud, the NCED cloud, which Ms. Ferguson spoke to earlier, their screen will look different than mine, but regardless of what their screen looks like, they will have a Clever button that they will access that is a blue box with a C in the middle of it. This is probably outside of Canvas and Teams, the most important app that we utilize in and out of the classroom. And so if
Yes, stinking ass.
on Clever and they open their Clever app,
You just cleaned your body up. I did. I said,
thank you. It will look similar to this, but they will have different apps. Some of them will be the same, some of them will be different, but this is the jumping off point for all of the apps that we use in school with very few exceptions. And so I had referred earlier to the ARC bookshelf. This is the one that's the golden square with the multiple colors inside. It is one of my absolute favorite apps because students can access hundreds of books through this bookshelf in the upper grades that they can use. And so if your student is in the upper grades, they have access to this. They can go to any of these colors on the side, and it starts down here with the kindergarten colors, yellow, moving all the way up through. And I've got 2 red pulled up right now. If your child's in 3rd through 5th, hopefully they're able to tell you what color level they're on. But they can come over here and scroll through and see all of these books and pick something that they might be interested in reading. So if they are a lover of animals, which so many of them are, they may want to read about elephants, and they can click open the book, and up here with the arrows, they can go page to page. The other real beauty of using the ARC bookshelf is that it tracks their reading for the teacher. And so they're able to see how many books they've opened and how many times they've spent on it. If they decide they're not interested or they've finished the book and they want to go to a different one, they just have to close it. They can go to any of the colors and maneuver around. They have access to all of them, which is an amazing ability that our students have. We also have InSync, which is something that students may use with the teachers assigning math lessons. And so if they go, they have to be assigned a lesson in there and they'll be able to access it. You've probably seen the green workbooks for Eureka Math that have come home. All of those pages are available to students through the InSync app, and it allows them to fill in electronically their answers that way and submit. So sometimes teachers may be using that for them for homework instead of paper pencil. And down here in the corner for every grade level is Zearn. And Zearn is another math application that we have that ties in and is directly tied into Eureka. It teaches the same content through an online platform that allows them to maneuver through lessons. They'll watch videos. There'll be little stop points during the lessons that allow the students to show that they're understanding. And at the end, they're going to have a tower of power to complete, which is a lot of questions to gauge their understanding of the content. And the students really love the tower of power if any of your children have completed it, because the tower, every time they get questions correctly, it gets higher and higher and builds. And so it allows them to be able to see their progress through that. I am going to exit this and go back to the slideshow and talk a little bit more about some of the other ones. I'm sorry, thank you for being patient as we maneuver through screens. I think I saw that Miss Lemon came on, and so I may have her introduce herself and help us with some of the apps as well, because I've got some kindergarten through second grade apps. Miss Lemon, are you still on and able to talk for a moment and introduce yourself, or no?
She's gone off, Miss Biddle.
Okay, I thought I might have her pop in. She works with our kindergarten through second grade teachers and students more, although we all go back and forth between them and are able here and willing to help any grade level. You may see Waterford on the Clever screen when I was on it. That is a program that is mainly for our kindergarten through second grade students, and it works with them on reading skills. And so it's a program that allows them to go in and get instruction and interact with reading content. ABC Mouse is one that kindergarten through second grade and some of our third graders soon will be using. That is a game that allows them to work on content. The beautiful thing about the version we got this year of ABC Mouse is that once your student has that on their device, you do not need internet access for them to play it. So we got the version that allows it to become an app, just like on your phone or any device, that they don't need to be connected to internet to interact with it. And so we thought that was so important given some of the tech issues that we've had through the year. And if they have it on a day like yesterday, if we lose power, they're still able to go on and work some on their reading skills. I'm gonna let Miss Walker, I know she's on, and introduce herself, and I know she is going to lead you through something in a minute, but she's in 5th grade, and 2 of these programs the 5th graders use quite frequently. So she and Miss Ferguson, I want Miss Walker, if you could, to talk about these.
Good morning. My name is Shantae Walker, and I am the multi-classroom leader for 5th grade. So on the screen in front of you, you see STEM Scopes, which is a science-based app. A lot of times we use that app to pull reading passages for the students, to also show some videos to the students. We use STEM Scopes and Discovery Education. Discovery Education has interactive activities for the students. I know yesterday we used it for forces and motions for the children to see how different materials react when they're pushed or pulled on specific surfaces. But both of those are websites and apps that we use to just enhance our science instruction with students. And then Ms. Biddle described and talked about the ARC bookshelf, which 5th grade also uses. Also within the ARC bookshelf, there are intervention toolkits and word lists in there. So the teachers may use those toolkits as well when working with students in small groups and one-on-one.
So to log into Discovery Education, they would just type in gcsnc.discoveryeducation.com. And then their login would be their student ID number and then their birthday. So they have opportunities to explore many different topics, especially in science. and to watch videos and do explorations like Ms. Walker talked about. Very hands-on, but on the computer.
We've talked about the Great Minds in Sync and the Zearn, that is for kindergarten through 5th grade. So all of your students have access to that and will interact with that online. And just as a quick sidebar, I'm going to send this PowerPoint link. I'm going to download it if I can and send it to you so you'll have access to see what we've spoken about. And if you did not get a text or an email from me, that means I don't have your email. If you could private message me your email in the chat, I'll make sure you're added to my list. And I'm going to hand it over. And before we do you, Miss Walker, I think I saw Miss Ritas pop in. She was in a meeting earlier, and I think I saw her pop in.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited. Thank you so much for stopping by today for our Lunch and Learn. I know that this information has been great. We've got staff members who have been preparing to make sure that we can explain everything and answer any questions that you have as our scholars learn each and every day. Of course, we're so proud to be a part of Blooper Peeler STEAM Academy. Yes, the greatest school in Gifford County. And that's what I tell people, and I'm going to stick to it. So you make it great as well because of your partnership, and we so appreciate you. So I just want you to know thank you. And because of this, after this, you've got a treat. We've got lunch for you at school. So we're going to do some drive-by. We're going to give the Chick-fil-A service and all of that wonderful things. We're just going to call it the Blooper Peeler service. So come on and drive by the school and pick up a box lunch on us, just to say that we appreciate you, your partnership, and everything that you do. I'm just going to give a few minutes if anybody has any questions for me before I turn it back over to the team. Okay, Ms. Biddle, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, Miss Walker's got RM. She's bringing up the rear with RM in STEAM.
All right, so we're going to talk about monitoring schoolwork. We know that you guys are our educational partners in your child's educational career, so we will need your help. I have a few bullet points up here that I'm going to discuss. Homework. Students have homework every night. If they say they don't have homework, please reach out to their classroom teacher because they will have homework Monday through Friday. And like mentioned earlier, Ms. Ferguson mentioned, homework may be assigned on Canvas. So just make sure that your students have their devices so that they're able to log in on Canvas. If the assignment is given on Canvas and you're having difficulty accessing it, also please reach out to your child's classroom teacher. At home reading, we are asking that each student reads at least 30 minutes per night. That's 30 minutes per night during the week. And they should have a reading log so that they can record those minutes, and then you guys will sign that you've read with them or that you saw them reading for those 30 minutes per night. Student agendas. Teachers have used the agendas as a way of communicating with you, as well as a way of record keeping for our upper grade students. I know that teachers have students writing down homework assignments. They may write down vocabulary. I know sometimes teachers may use it as a means to contact you about student behavior. Sometimes they may ask you just to speak to the child about a specific behavior. So those agendas are used for many different reasons and purposes. Also, if you have something that you want to speak to the teacher about and you don't have time to type an email, write it in the student agenda and make sure that your child shows it to the teacher. That's a way that you can keep in contact with the teacher as well. Are there any questions so far? Okay. Teacher contact. By now you should have your child's teacher's email address and or the phone number to the school to get in contact with them. I know a lot of times teachers may reach out to you by Class Dojo as well. So if you're not signed up on Class Dojo, please reach out to your child's teacher to get the login information. I know we send out messages through Class Dojo, also on Canvas, and also in their Teams page. I know a lot of times when we have the remote learning because of inclement weather, the teachers reach out by those means. They will also contact you by text, telephone call, Class Dojo, Canvas, and Teams. So there is no reason why you should not be hearing from your child's teacher. If this is an issue, please contact the school and we will have a conversation with those classroom teachers. SMOD stands for Standard Mode of Dress. Bluford Pillar scholars are expected to be in standard mode of dress Monday through Thursday, and Friday being our school spirit day. So standard mode of dress are your khaki pants, navy blue, black, or brown, and a collared shirt. On Friday, they're able to wear blue jeans with a school spirit shirt. That's a Bluford Pillar t-shirt. Hold, please, I have a student calling.
She's doing some testing too. So I think the last piece that she was talking about is the assessments of our students. We have a variety of assessments that students take. So we always encourage for our attendants for them to be here when school starts and all the way till it ends. They have assessments on every subject area that they take. They also have assessments that the district is requiring for us to do. And we take these data points, that's what we call data points, and that's how we teach our students. So if, say for instance, if they're having a difficulty with weather on one of their assessments, Ms. Ferguson is right there to go right into the classroom and say, oh, this is what we need to go back and reteach and do some more work with. If they have an assessment where they're doing great, then we know that we can move forward to the next level for that assessment. So there are a variety of assessments that we take. And so ask your children, please, ask our scholars when they get home, what assessments have you had this week? We even give shout outs, whether it's a spelling test or whether it is a benchmark or stamina test. We celebrate their successes and we try to make sure that they work through the challenges of assessments that might provide some productive struggle for them.
Thank you, Ms. Reedus. I knew she was going to speak up when I was in the middle of presenting, but she just finished her assessment. So as Ms. Reedus said, yes, and our 3rd through 5th grade students, they take stamina assessments to prepare them for the end of grade test. So each week they will take one stamina assessment. It will be either math or reading, and then for 5th grade, they take a math assessment, reading assessment, and science assessment. Our K2 students take the iStation assessment, and all students take the NWEA MAP growth assessment with an exception to 3rd grade this year. So for some of you, you may remember your K2 students taking an assessment online in December, the NWEA MAP growth assessment. They will take another one, the spring assessment, in March to measure the growth that they have made from the initial assessment to the 2nd assessment. So be on the lookout for a parent letter about the NWEA MAP growth assessment. Are there any questions? Okay, Ms. Ferguson did a great job with Canvas. So right here, I just have a few more pointers. On the Canvas pages, there is a way that you can look at the course calendar, you'll see it says view course calendar, and that calendar will show all of the assignments that your child has been assigned. And then on the side, on that Canvas page, you will also find a to-do button. That's also a place where you can check to see the assignments that your student has. So you can look at that to-do list or the view course calendar and have a discussion with your child. Well, did you complete module 2 lesson 20 exit ticket? So those are discussions that you can also have with your student, especially if they are remote, just to make sure that they are up on assignments, because once the assignments are missing or when they're skipping assignments, it's hard to catch up. So we want to make sure that they're pacing themselves when it comes to turning in assignments online. Any questions? All right.
I will say here really quickly that as a parent, there is a Canvas parent app that you can download to a phone or device that allows you to quickly go in, and it will show you exactly which assignments are missing and turned in without having to go through all of the steps to get through your students page. So all you have to do is go to your Google Play Store or the iTunes Store and get the parent Canvas app, and it's got the red round thing that is the same view that we see, but it allows you quick access.
Virtual learning hours. Your students that are in remote learning, their hours are from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. with some of the ending times ending a little later than 2 p.m. because the students love to hear the shout outs that are given at the end of the day that Ms. Rita mentioned. So the teachers may keep the students online so that they can hear the shout outs. During that day, I know a lot of us say that's a long time to be on the computer, but during that day, they get brain breaks from subject to subject when students are transitioning. They also get a lunch break. They get a break for specials, and then there is time allotted for independent work during those hours. A lot of the students like to sit online with the teacher and start their work so that they know that they're going in the right direction. And the teachers will sit online with them. The teachers also stay online and keep students online to complete exit tickets and some other assignments that students may need additional help with.
Okay, so as we prepare for you to come up to the school to get your lunch, you'll drive by the front of the school, and some of us will be out there to greet you and give you a box lunch. You're going to tell them either the screen name that we had up or your student name, and we'll get to the questions, I promise, in just a moment. And you're going to tell them your name, the student name, and you're going to give us your autograph on our sign-in sheet, which normally we would do if we were face-to-face. We super appreciate your attending. We cannot stress that enough. We know this is a highly unusual, atypical year, but we are trying to do the best we can to make do and still get you some of the programming that we would do during a face-to-face session. I think Miss Lawson will be doing, I've got a question. Will there be an opportunity to purchase more school spirit shirts this school year? I'm fairly confident that we will be doing that. I do know that the company that we had used in the past due to COVID, unfortunately went out of business. So they're in, right now they're searching for a new way for us to get those shirts and have it be quality. I don't know if Ms. Carrington or Ms. Reedish, you know more about that, if the school spirit shirts.
So we have two vendors that we work with, and unfortunately, both of them, their businesses are no longer due to the COVID pandemic that has occurred. So we're working with our PTA right now to be able to find shirts that we can have for our students. but I also want you to understand that this is the great thing. Next month, there's going to be a surprise. So we're asking you, I don't know if your child has shared anything or you have seen from your teacher, the t-shirt size of our students. We're going to go green and blue in the month of March. So all of our scholars will have their own shirt that we're purchasing at the school that will have the Peeler, the Bluford Peeler logo on the shirt. So when it's coming in March. And it's, of course, theirs to keep, but we are looking for another vendor at this time. And there are two people who are on, and we want to make sure we give you credit to know that you were here. So T. Clark, if you could please just let us know your child, and also Joseph G. If you would please put your name in the chat, or you can even unmute and just say, hey, my child is in what grade and who your child is. So T. Clark. Okay, Joseph G, thank you so much. And then T. Clark, please.
And then the second question was, is iStation recommended for third students at home? Are you talking about the assessment iStation? If you are, we would really like for the students to come into the building to take assessments. We have made accommodations for students that are testing, that are in remote learning, for them to come into the building and test in a small group. If they test in the classroom, we have times where we can set up times for them to test with 1 or 2 students. I hope that helps, but if there are extenuating circumstances where students cannot come into the building, then we'll set up online testing. Progress monitoring at home.
Yeah, the teacher, if they have progress monitoring, it's because it's been assigned by their teacher. So that is fully expected to be happening at home. So yes, that's a great question. And if it's assigned, they will do that.
Are there any more questions? You're welcome.
Well, if there are no more questions, we want to just thank you for doing this lunch and learn with us today
Ms.
and
Rita,
getting
I'm
this
sorry.
information.
There
Yes,
is
ma'am.
another question about picking
Okay.
up lunch in the car rider line. If they're at work, I would assume we could hold their lunches and give them.
Absolutely. If you would just put a tag on that particular parent and we can take it to the classroom and the teacher will hold it for them. So just let us know who you are. So we will, do you have that, Ms. Carrington?
I have it.
Okay, Ms. Carrington is monitoring our parents, so
I
she
don't
will
know if
definitely do
the
that.
parents would be willing to come off their relaxed camera for us to do a group shot view from our PD. But if you're willing to open your camera up for just a minute and do a picture with us, we would so appreciate that.
All right, woohoo! Look at my parents, woohoo! Y'all got me all excited. Don't you make me shout in this place today. Oh my goodness, I'm taking care of my dad today. He's not feeling well, so that's why you see me, not with you, but I wanted to be with you
Front
all
office.
today. So
Hey,
I so appreciate you all coming off camera.
All right, so let's all give a big smile, and I'm going to take a couple of
you got
screenshots.
9 and then 1 and then 800, but you got to probably dial it from up here.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just a second, because I'm saving them as I do it so that I can get another one in. So one more big smile, everyone. And I think I saw that we have Miss Farmer Gills on now, right, Miss Ritas?
Yes, she is. She is on. Miss Farmer Gills, you want to say hello?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. I'm also a parent, so I turned my camera on too. But yes, thank you all for joining in. I see Emery's mom. Hey, how are you? But thank you all for joining in. It's always great to see parents, to see grandparents, to see all family members of our students. So thank you guys.
And you know that you must be at a good school because Miss Carrington, our data manager, our assistant principal, their children go to Bluford Peeler STEAM Academy. We have a lot of our staff that have their children here. So that's a good feeling. It's a great feeling when the people who work here say, oh yes, it's a great school because I'm bringing my child to work with me every single day and they're getting a wonderful education. So, well, come on by and we will, oh, go ahead, Ms. Carrington.
One more thing. T. Clark, can I get your student's name, please?
Joe Marley McCain and Kenji McCain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if you are being joined by a partner in your child's education, like a grandparent or an auntie or uncle or a dad or a mom or a spouse, and you're both on today, if you both are in the car when you come, we are happy to give you both a lunch because we
Absolutely.
know that it takes more than one of us. So we want to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Biddle. If there's no more questions, we're going to let you jump in the car and come on over to get that Bluford Peeler excellent service. Thank you. Great session. That makes us feel great because the team worked so hard. Thank you so much.
And Miss Carrington, we have a lot of people that want to be here next year. These parents, they want to know how many have applied so far.
When I checked this morning, we already had about 198 applications.
So we have 198 families trying to come into Bluford Peeler. That makes us feel good too.
Yep.
Okay, we got you, Jaden's dad. Thank you.
I know we'll be doing more of these sessions, so please be on the lookout for that and join us. And we hope you have a warm and safe weekend.
Bye-bye. Y'all take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Can we assist? Okay.
That's it.
All right. Great job, team.
That baby came in and said, Miss Walker, I'm fit. I knew she was going to do that when it was time for me to start talking. I'm
Oh,
like,
that was too funny. Miss Biddle, you just scared me because I was like, now I know we
Stop
don't
the
have twins,
recording.
but Miss Biddle, I saw you. I saw you on 2 times, 2 screens. I was like, Miss Biddle.
Miss Carrington, you can stop the recording. Yeah.